chakra knife.
Oh my,
It's a 7 chakra blade.
Amun.
Yep.
Oh, I need that. I've got to have it.
Yes, a 7 chakra blade. Yes.
You fools and
Yeah.
guys. We
It's
are live. Welcome to my TV-DMV,
yes.
my University, where we try to
Yes.
bring on guests that's going to teach us and give us tools that we need for our lives and daily success.
Yes.
Welcome again, Amun. Thank you for joining us.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Yes.
Please,
Peace to everybody.
oh, put that up one more time.
Put it up one more time.
Oh,
So yeah. So that's the a
what
close
about?
up on it. It's got a quartz crystal at the top and the bottom,
Oh,
and seven chakra stones all the way up.
mm, 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 mm.
You know.
Nice. And how much is that piece selling for?
Uh, we'll talk about that later.
Oh, I was saying it for.
Ah.
If you guys want to know, I want to know.
Nah.
And,
This piece. This piece is 333. And yeah, it's the only it there may be others, but it's the only one that I know about. So
ooh,
it's a you know.
nice. Okay, let me put your information down at the bottom so that people can
Yeah,
contact you if they want that.
yeah, yeah.
So tonight we have a very, very special show tonight. We're going to be talking about, or Amun actually is going to be teaching us about oracles and the definitions, and then I'll have some questions regarding the topic. If you all will recall the Matrix, the movie when Neo went to see the oracle because Morpheus told Neo, you need to go see the oracle. So just, I'm sure everybody knows about the Matrix, but
Hmm.
based on that part, Amun, you can go right into your presentation.
All right. Well, once again, peace and love to everybody. I'm Amun Neteru L here. To share with my TV DMV. Insight. Um, Sister Offset and myself were talking about readings, and I expressed to her that, I know what readings are, but sometimes the atmosphere around what people call readings are it's a little too contrived for me. And I'm a very spiritual person, and I totally accept that consciousness is universal and that reality is streaming, not just from the past to the present to the future, but also from the future to the present and then back to the past. So, when I speak of these sessions, we'll be having these oracle sessions where people can read in, there call in. There's a number of things that occur in oracle sessions. One is I'm naturally clairaudient. So everybody can feel vibes to some degree. I feel vibes in a major way. But not so much that I am an empath who is knocked off of my steady because of it. Because there are some people who are so empathic that they're knocked off of their, it rocks them. I'm not that type of empath. I'm clairaudient. I hear and feel, and it's translated into comprehensible word for me. Um, People have randomly walked up to me and said, "Can you read people, or do you do readers?" And said, "Well, tell me something about myself right now." I've gotten that like probably for like the last 25 years of my life at random. People just walk up, "Well, tell me something about myself right now. What's my vibe?" And I say to them, like anything, there's a respectful way to access insight, right?
Mhm.
But a couple of times I blew their minds with some things that I read into. But it's definitely the way. So an oracle. There's an ancient Greek and Roman and what they like the Druid. The Druid aspect of oracle.
Mhm.
But amidst our people, there was shaman. You know, what we've also called high priests, Jegna, um, people who were interpreters of the unseen.
Mhm.
And there are many ways, from being naturally clairaudient and intuitive, of one who senses vibes, to one who is, so there are higher senses, right? You have clairaudience, you have clairvoyance, you have telepathy, you have psychometry, which is your ability to touch things and read the natural energy, to read etheric information that was imprinted on a thing. Um, and you have clairvoyance, right? The ability to see into other dimensions and other times, right? So these are all higher senses. So these are some of the qualities, what they also have called extrasensory perceptive abilities, of people who were labeled oracles of past times. But going back, the shamans of our indigenous people were also um, very much oracles. So the oracles were people that you would go to get deeper insight as to what's going on, especially when you knew that there was things going on that were influenced beyond things you could already perceive, right? Um, and so, yeah, I am one who, I don't. This is the first time I've even gone live to talk about these type of things, because I'm really a person to person. I'm really a people to people thing. But the universe is saying, hey, bro, like, we know you a Scorpio, and you be living inside of your shell, but now is the time to come out from that
The time is now, Amun.
150-degree mountain, what I'm
Yes.
saying, and come out where the people are, what I'm saying. So yes, I appreciate the opportunity. But yeah, the oracle sessions are about opportunities, people who want to call in and talk about things that they've experienced in the past that they might want some interpretation and some insight into. Dream interpretation is some of the stuff that we'll be able to do here. There is definitely other types of quote readings, whether I use the Zen tarot, which is most perfect for one like me, because I am a practitioner of the Zen philosophies and way of life. Just the observing of the all and the nothing at all space and all time, which opens up amazing opportunity for perception, right? We also use the 13 moon Mayan calendar. So in personal private readings, it's a part of, but not necessarily directly. People would have to probably tap into that, because those are like detailed and kind of personal. But we could open up a little bit of everything as we go on this journey together. And what happens when a person calls in and says, hey, I would like some insight on ha. What happens is, the more people who are watching and receiving along that person, oftentimes the listeners are already harmonized with the conversation to some degree. So they'll find that questions that they had are being answered, even though it's addressing the circumstances and the journey of another person.
Absolutely.
And this is important, because we are all connected. We're all connected, and the universe is master crafting us to weave ourselves into a more harmonic state. So even things like the internet, people are being connected by supreme wisdom. Everything happening on the earth is subject to the consciousness that is Mother Earth. So we are all connected by that. So yeah, that's what these oracle sessions are about. And yeah, I'm available to be clairaudient, intuitive, clairvoyant, to assist people in having clarity, because that means a lot in a time like now, where people are being bombarded with stimuli. Yeah, it's cool to have a friend that you can call, talk to, and get some insight and some breakdown into some things going on. So that's what we're doing for the oracle sessions.
Great, wonderful. Yeah, I my great grandmother, I was just told about 3 years ago when, because, I'm tracing my roots and I'm always spending time trying to, find out who my ancestors were. And
Yes.
my cousin, she lived with my great grandmother. That was her grandmother. And she said, the two of you are so much alike. And she told me that my great grandmother had her own church, that she had a church and that she was a reader, and that's how she made her money, where people in the community would come to her and she would do readings on them. So a lot of things that I didn't know about this woman, and I found out, I always felt like her energy was around me all the time, and I never knew who she was. And once I connected with my cousin, who's my elder, and she
Yes.
began to tell me all these things, it's so many of the women in my family that I find I am so much alike. Like I am them and they
Mm,
are me, you know.
yes.
And so as I started to know more about a lot of these women, not just on my father's side, but on my mother's side as well, there was a lot. And these women were indigenous to the land. They weren't
Yeah.
brought over here from Africa.
Right.
They were Cleveland, Tennessee, is where my great grandmother, was born, and that's
Mhm.
where her reservation was. So, I'm more interested in building and trying to get my psyche together also to be
Mhm.
stronger than what it is, because I've been bombarded so much with religion, which talks against these things. It's
Yes.
always talking against our natural way and the way that our ancestors were. So I'm definitely looking forward to um, what you're going to say about the oracles and the future of people calling in and getting themselves on board with learning about it as well.
Yeah. So, you know, I remember I would, every once in a while, meet somebody and get a reading. I was initiated into the Order of Melchizedek
Mhm.
by way of, my shahada into the Ansarullah community. And we used the Urim and Thummim stones,
Mhm.
which are spoken of in the Bible in the chapter of Hebrews. Um, the Urim and Thummim stones were stones used by the high priests of the Levitican order.
Mhm.
Um, and going back into that sacred connection where the sacred Hebrew lodges that dealt with the science of the tree of life, and the Sphirot, the Hebrew fire letters, their orders were directly connected to the Kemetic Egyptian mystery schools.
Mhm.
So the Urim and Thummim stones were stones with sacred symbols on them, which is where you get the idea of the runes, right? The
Mhm.
runes as an ancient system for reading and gaining insight. And a lot of people will say, well, where is the insight coming from? Well, there's a lot of answers to that, but the simplest one is that they're coming from I am,
Mhm.
that each of us is living with the supreme witness.
Mhm.
And what we have been conditioned or tended to focus on, or um, what has polarized us into what we consider our primary state of mind, our primary character. Um, Being in that character so much, it becomes challenging for people
Mhm.
to um, address and gain clarity from the superconscious. The cosmic conscious, the planetary conscious being that is resonating with us all the time. But
Yeah.
the good news is that's why the creator put more than one of us here.
Mhm.
That's why we're not here all by ourselves. Um, because with community comes the opportunity for communion.
Mhm.
And in that union, communication, um, so that you can see yourself from different perspectives. Um, but then there's also the guardian angel conversation, right?
Mhm.
That each person has guardians with them that are with them all the time.
Yeah.
uh and when a person becomes sensitive enough, you can really vividly communicate with your guardian angels. um but sometimes the guardians will be like, they'll talk to your friend, like they'll talk to somebody. Yo, can you please? I've been trying to tell her, but like she's got some like earmuffs on, and mind you, I'm not talking to the physical ear, but maybe if you say something to the physical ear, she'll pay more attention to me. You know what I mean? So at that point, we are all angels, and it's just a matter of choices that we make to be conduits. And of course, the biggest choice, which is for someone to actually listen. I have friends, that used to go to the psychics, psychic lady, and I would wonder, when I saw that, I would say, why, when you know that I'm a born counselor, I'm a counselor since I was a child, I'm a natural born counselor. Why would you go and spend tons of bread with someone? But I realized a lot of those people needed the shock. They needed the otherworldliness of a stranger.
Wow.
Because that's what made them feel like it was telling them something different. And unfortunately, I know that a lot of those psychic readers are talented in the art of making situations sound more extreme than they actually are. Because the more pendulum swing that they would feed a person that comes to them for a reading, the more likely it is that person's going to come back for another one.
Right.
So that to me, that's I'm not in this for hustling. I'm in this because I care about my brothers and sisters.
Right.
And if I got a gift that can work like a flashlight on a dark night, well, let's turn the light on and get things brightened up for you. You know what I'm saying? So seeing through the world of different types of spiritual insight, which I always know people should be aware that there's a difference between psychic and spiritual. And that difference is how people address the mental plane, and how people devote themselves towards the Most High versus believe themselves to be clever amidst the mental world, right? Because you'll get a different energetic response. One thing is just data, but the other thing is inspiration, right?
Definitely.
And so there's a big difference between receiving insight from one who is giving you inspiration and true fuel, because there's love flowing, versus one who is performing a business transaction and telling you some stuff. And so these are just some of the things that we want to be able to look at the mirror and be clear that some people in some places you can ask for direction and people will give you directions, but the directions would be mad sloppy. Other people will give you directions and they'll save you a half an hour. You know what I'm saying? Because of the nature of the way they give such a direction. You know what I mean? And so there's a lot going on in the world of readings. I'm not big on the tarot, but I do feel like the tarot is a system that is true to its relationship with the spiritual personalities that affect human beings.
Yes.
And the relationship with supreme mathematics and how things translate through the mind in a mathematical order.
Definitely. Yeah, I often, when my children's friends come over, and even now when my friends may call me and they may have some issue that's going on, the first thing I do is I'll pull some of my tarots and just start shuffling, because I'm not gonna try to tell someone what I think is going on. It's their issue, it's their problem, and I just want to always act as a portal to try and assist people, and not try to act like I'm way up here, because I feel that we all have the gift. We just have to tap into it, and we have to want to tap into it.
Yes. Yes.
You're
Well,
brave.
yeah, that's powerful. It's powerful to, choose your instrument to
Hmm.
perform this service. You know what I
Absolutely.
mean? But yeah, so like I said, I've been clairaudient for most of my life that I can remember, um, and a little bit clairvoyant. I've
Hmm.
had some clairvoyant experiences,
Yeah.
uh, but I know some people who are really clairvoyant,
Hmm.
so I don't claim it with the level of gusto,
All right.
um,
Right. Hmm.
because I know some people who are like, whoa, like they see stuff. You know what I'm saying?
Hmm.
Um, so we all get in where we fit in and use those gifts to assist other people.
Definitely. Definitely. My sister-in-law, one time she took me to this meeting with her, and I didn't know anyone there, but when we walked up, the lady of the home, it's this big old house, and the lady, she looked at me and
Hmm.
she ran and grabbed this guy and was like, please pray with me. And she's staring at me. So my sister-in-law, she's like, do you know her? I'm like, no, you brought me here. Who are these
Hmm.
people? Why is everybody acting weird?
Right.
And she began praying. So after she prayed with this guy, she walked over to me and she said, who is this woman walking with you? I said, oh, that's my great grandmother. And she could see. A lot of people sometimes will just walk up to me and can see certain things. And I know that they're clairvoyant, because not many people are just going to walk up to you that you don't know and say that they see certain things. So some people have the gift, and they don't really want it, but it's just there. And some people want it, and they have to work so hard to keep building to get themselves there. But you have people who come, and my grandchildren, they see my son all the time,
Wow.
you know? And so it's a beautiful thing, because I've taught them how to meditate. So as children, 10 and under, they're all clairvoyant, and
Yeah.
they're not afraid to talk about it. So
So I've seen, um, what they call ghosts, a couple times
mhm,
in my younger life. You know what I mean? But I've definitely seen, the shadows on the walls, and
mhm,
I've seen some things that are beyond this world of you know human beings thinking that reality is gonna all be a 3D
mhm,
experience. um you know but part of the time we're living in, even when you're dealing with like the Mayan calendar, right,
mhm,
and you know the graduation into the fifth world, um that's greatly about what we call dreams, the dream state,
mhm.
uh interfacing more completely with the world of mortals. So what people don't understand is that right now, this conversation we're having through these screens,
Mhm.
this screen has digitized dream. This screen is digitized dream.
What do you mean by that?
Right now, my voice is moving faster than the speed of sound,
Mhm,
and it's popping up where you are and other places right now,
mhm,
because the crystals and the relationship with the other elements inside of this gadget have made a doorway, a vortex.
mm,
And what we're talking about, when we talk about dream consciousness, which is what do you have in dreams? You have vision, you have sounds,
yeah.
and you have feelings,
Mhm,
right? So these tools are like the training wheels for our higher conscious experiences. So they can be good to help us get there. And at the same time, if people perceive that these external things are the only way,
mhm.
then people can also become numb and dull their higher sensory abilities, um, because the synthetic experience is radioactive and it's hammering on your nervous system. You see?
Love it.
you know so there's we are already living in the
Mhm,
fifth realm.
mhm,
It's just that those people who wish to benefit from anything new they can extract from the universal consciousness, sure they're gonna do it. They're gonna put it together, and capitalize off of it.
Yeah.
And the capitalism works the best when people feel like there's no other way to get it unless they go to, whichever company is hosting the technology.
Mm-hmm.
But the true host of the technology is us, the place that the breath of life was breathed into in Genesis chapter 2, verse 7. You know, God breathed the breath of life into man, and man became a living soul. We are the supreme technology.
Mm-hmm.
However, the time we spend with meditation, the time we spend with visualization, the time we spend, having a dream journal, or at least speaking about your dreams. Like me and my lady, we wake up some days and just chop it up about dreams for like, sheesh, we can get to interpreting and easily spend a half hour to an hour just sharing each other's dreams in the early day.
Yeah.
Um, you know these are more reasons to provoke people should feel provoked to organize their life in a way where they're not bound to a 9 to 5 all the time,
Mm-hmm.
because when you're caught up in that schedule, you don't even get a chance to review your dreams like that unless you got somebody at work you can chop it up with.
Right.
um,
Mm-hmm.
but generally speaking, things that the universe is speaking to you about from the inside out, we wake up and don't get a chance to even deal with a review
Mm.
of our own inner dialogue with the universe because we got to go make money.
Mm, mm, mm. It's a good thing to have a journal because when you look back in 3 months, you can start seeing certain
Oh
patterns.
yeah, there's patterns.
Oh, and it's a beauty because it's just for us. Like my walk is just for me. Your walk is for you. And so when you start looking at your journal and actually reading things, like when my son passes, I didn't know what to do. Right, I was out of it. But then I had this vivid dream 3 months ago. My granddaughter, she's 5 years old. She spent the night, and she woke up really early that morning, and she was laying on the couch, and I woke up, and we were talking, and for some reason I went back to sleep, and that quickly I went into the dream world. And her dad, my son, two of my sons who are still here, and three of my sons were in the dream with me. It was so real.
Mm-hmm.
And my youngest son called my oldest son, and he said, "Oh, I'm being jumped. I'm being jumped." So my son said, "Oh, he's being jumped." And so we're all trying to get to him. So we end up getting to my youngest son, and my youngest son is your complexion. So he had blood on him, and my oldest son said, "Oh man, you're not beat up. You just light skinned." It didn't make any sense, but it was funny because I'm like in the dream, I'm like, "What are you talking about? He's light skinned. That means nothing." And when I looked down the street, my son who had passed was walking up the street in the dream. So I
Mm.
forget them and I run down the street and I said, "What are you doing here?" And I meant, you're dead. Like, what are you doing here? And he was focused on getting to his little brother.
Yeah.
And so when I grabbed him, he just pulled away from me in the dream and kept trying to get to his brother. And I'm crying and I'm saying, "I don't understand what's going on. How are you here?" And I got the snot bubbles and everything. And
Yeah.
I'm like, "You left me." And then he looked at me, he said, "I did not leave you, Umi." Same voice, everything. And he
Yeah.
hugged me,
Yeah.
right? And when I woke up, I had the snot bubbles and I was crying. And my granddaughter, she said, "Grandma, what's wrong with you?" And I ran in the bathroom and I looked at myself and I just smiled.
Yeah.
And it was, and when I tell people, a lot of people they don't really want to hear about it, but it really happened and it was real. There's no way that anybody can tell me that that was not his presence in that dream because the hug was real, the voice was real, and his attitude of protecting his family was still there in the
Yeah.
dream.
Yeah. I mean, so that's good that we get into dreams because you know like these conversations, this series of sessions that we're having, those are the things that I really want to get into, right? Like, like I love the organic nature of storytelling when it comes to our dreams. You know what
Mm-hmm.
I mean? Because I have dreams that I had many, many cycles ago that are still really like they're provocative. They still push me as um, a soul having a uh, human experience. Because there's so much to get. From the power of such dreams. Like with my jewelry making, for example. So this is like when I was like, I think I must have been like 16, 17 years old.
Mm-hmm.
I used to have a couple of reoccurring dreams. But one of the dreams that had come a couple of times was this giant bridge. It was like a rope bridge going across a huge, what to me was a huge river.
Mm-hmm.
And it was pretty high up. And I was scared to cross the bridge. I remember the first dreams, I was scared to cross the bridge, but I was also amazed by the bridge. I was amazed by it. And I still am in love with bridges. You know, bridges in the night. One of my favorite things in the world is bridges in the night. I love lit bridges at night. It does something to me. Ugh. But in this dream, I was on the bridge, and I thought about getting in the water in the dream, and suddenly I'm going down a ladder into the water. Now, at that point in my life, I really wasn't a strong swimmer, but
Mm-hmm.
I was so compelled by my nature to be in the water that I ended up in the dream in the water. But there was no transition of fear. By the time I knew I was in the water, I had washed up the shore. Right. So I come out the water to, a beach, and it's kind of like a rocky beach. But all of these rocks all over the beach are crystals.
Ooh.
And they're all different colors of crystals, big ones. They're all over the place. And mind you, this is when I was like 16. I ain't had no crystals. I didn't know nothing. I ain't know nothing about no rubies and all that. I didn't know nothing about none of that stuff.
Mm-hmm.
All the thing I know about crystals was Revelations. And New Jerusalem was made of different crystals because I read it, right? But I wash up on this beach with all these crystals, and I'm like kind of like mystified. And I get close to one, and the one I get close to is purple. And inside of the purple crystal is a dragonfly. The dragonfly is literally inside the crystal, flying inside the crystal. And I remember reaching out for it and just thinking, and then I woke up. Right. So that was then. Now, as I've gotten into crystals, the stone that brought me into my crystal life is amethyst, the purple crystal.
Oh.
Um, since since me and my lady have been together, especially when we were in LA, when we were in Cali, dragonflies, wherever we were at, dragonflies would come and fly right over the car.
Beautiful.
Then I shared this story with the brothers and sisters that come out for the retreat we do every year. We do a retreat called Crystal Sun Rising every February in Tucson, Arizona for Temple of Soul. And I told this story at the event. Well, we went out on a hike to this trail and this little oasis, because Tucson is a desert. You know what I mean? It's still Arizona, but we found this little oasis over there, and so we went and did some spiritual exercise, some chanting and things, over by this place. Well, on our way there, we drive past a ranch. What's the name of the ranch? Dragonfly Ranch.
Confirmations are for you.
So then we go to this little pond and do this spirit work or whatever. And Ross, Ben, and Marina they saw some stuff while we were doing our rites. They saw some stuff. They was looking back at me like, bruh. And I was like, hey, like, these things, where two or more are gathered, so there shall I be, saith the Lord. Right. So I'm sitting there doing some things, and What happens? A dragonfly comes over and lands like right in front of me.
Mm-hmm.
So I think about how this is like 30 years ago, but the prophetic futurist aspect of the dream realm,
Mm.
it communicates throughout time.
Yes.
It's not bound up in time, like you had that dream when you were 10, so
Mm-hmm.
it expired when you turned 14. It's not like that. Consciousness is perpetual, and our ability to grow, gather, and remember, which means to put back together, is constant. That's part of the reason why certain dreams are so memorable.
Mm-hmm.
You know. So yeah, it's definitely exciting journey.
Beautiful, beautiful. Wow. I have a friend in Florida. She's from Haiti,
Yes.
and we did. We often do rituals together because when I meet people who are on the same path that I am, I try to keep them close, and we've really been close because we know we both are into the same thing. So we decided we were going to do this ritual in the woods in Florida. So I went to Florida, and we did this deep meditation, and from the moment that I arrived, it's almost like we were being led to all these different places. We went to this botanica shop that we had never been to. She lives there and had never been there,
Right.
to the botanica shop, and so we were able to get a lot of supplies and things that we needed to just perfect our ritual. So when we were in the woods, I was in meditation, she was in meditation. When we came out of meditation, we were walking past this lake going
Yeah.
back to her place. And my father transitioned when I was 4.
Okay.
His nickname is Woody.
Okay.
And I saw this bird in the middle of the lake, and we were walking by, and I said, "Hey, Woody." I just said, "Hey, Woody." By the time we got to the corner, the bird was on our heel,
Yes.
right? And so we both knew what was going on. And so when
Yeah.
we turned around, I still have it on tape. The bird looked at us like, "Oh, y'all better act like don't play with me." He
Yeah.
called me and I'm here. And the bird knew where the location was where we were going. It walked in front of us across
Yes.
the street, and I had to stop traffic
Yes.
for this bird to cross the street. And the bird
Yes.
back and said, "Y'all better come on." He knew where we were going. So when we got
Yeah.
to the location, all these other birds came from nowhere.
Yeah.
And so it's one of those things where I try to share little things that happen because I want people to know that your ancestors are always with you. And the spirit world is 3 feet away from us. There are times when I'm asleep and something will actually tap me
Uh-huh.
and wake me up. And I'm up and I'm saying, I know this wasn't a dream.
Right.
you know and even if you read the hadith in Quran, it
Uh-huh.
tells you if you could see the spirit world, you would have more entities in your home than you have humans.
Right.
and
Right.
and I remember reading that. A lot of people who practice Judaism
Right.
freely talk about these things as well.
Yes.
Some Catholics will talk about it. I don't really hear a lot of people that are practicing like Baptists get into talking about the spirit world, but it definitely exists in all different religions.
Sure. Religions are just like glass, like prescription glasses. They help
Mm,
you see, but they're designed for a certain aspect of your eye. You know what I'm saying?
nicely put. I never thought.
Their design, the prescription is based on what the optometrist is trained to do for your eye in a certain state, right? So religion is like that. Surely there is something that could just straight up heal your eye. There is something that could straight up heal your iris, heal your cornea, heal your sclera, heal your retina, uh, cleanse your optic nerve, get parasites out of your brain.
Mm,
And so all this is why the highest heights of any religions all lead to the same thing. You know, So yeah, it's important to understand, like, even like with people, like I was raised in a Baptist church,
Mm-hmm.
and people didn't talk about mysteries.
Right.
But my whole thing was, um, how you talking about God if you're not talking about mysteries? You know, like, let's go further. Like, let's go beyond the surface. Like, that's what I was excited about. So that's part of why I am how I am now. Because as a
Mm-hmm.
kid, I was always excited about it. I was like, God is cool. Why? Because beyond all y'all, beyond all y'all is like where the real stuff is. Like, I
There
mean,
you go.
y'all cool. Like, y'all all right. But like, I'm here for a reconnection with the one that's like, on that next. Like, I got questions, baby. Like, I
Please.
need answers. And so I know it's gonna take some unique beings
Mm-hmm.
to assist me with some of these questions that I have.
Wonderful.
Um,
Wonderful.
so yeah, and so by the grace of God, I have also become an assistant to help others
Mm-hmm.
too. You know what I mean?
Absolutely. Question.
Mm-hmm.
What do you think about orbs, ORBS, and what's your definition of them, and what do you think about the word in general, orbs?
So orb, well, first of all, OR. I mean, OR is phonetically you are. And or means fire, just like oracle,
Mm.
right? Ora. You know what I mean? Fire, light, natural light, right? So yeah, orbs are balls of light. Um, I have seen orbs in a number of circumstances. Um, I've taken pictures that had orbs all in the pictures.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, I've been in spaces where people who were with me was like, this place, there's orbs all up in here.
Mm-hmm.
Um, the Elohim, who we call angelic beings. The Elohims are beings of light. So when we talk about being surrounded with or covered by angels, we don't need to keep treating these conversations like they don't have a true resonance.
Mm-hmm.
These spirits, these ancestors that walk with us, have a resonance. They have they emanate.
Mm.
They have true qualities. The voices don't come from nowhere. Even when they come from within, this realm is a reflection of quantum physical microatomic forces. So there's always a relationship happening between the advanced contracted forces
Mm-hmm.
and the advanced expanded forces. So when you're seeing orbs, you are seeing living consciousness,
Yeah.
to a certain degree, even that they have such thing as ball lightning. And you can look that up. Ball lightning. Literally, stories upon stories upon stories about lightning moving through space in the form of a ball.
Mm-hmm.
One of my cousins, it's a great story about so my cousin Yanni, peace and blessings be to her, she transcended some years back. She went out during a thunderstorm one night, and her grandmom told her, don't go out there. But she ain't listen, and she went out anyway. And they told me the story because there was a clock sitting. Them clocks that stand up and they're inside of the glass domes.
No.
Okay, so like if you can imagine like a glass dome,
Okay. Yeah. Yeah. I know what you're talking about.
that you would put like a trophy in,
Yes.
but
Mm-hmm.
it's a dome. It's not a whole case.
Okay.
It's just it's like sits solo.
Mm-hmm.
And so they had one of these clocks inside of a glass dome sitting on top of a floor. This is back in the day, so it was a floor TV, a big black floor TV,
Mm-hmm.
and the time was stopped on the clock. And they went to explain to me how this thunderstorm was coming, and Grandma told Yanni don't go out, and Yanni went out anyway,
Mm-hmm.
and it started thundering and lightning like crazy. And they had left the door open. The door was open, so like because they weren't getting wet on the inside, but they would just let the breeze flow through the house. They said the lights cut off. They were all talking, still just talking a little bit. They said all of a sudden everybody in the room could hear something and feel something. Everybody got quiet at the same time,
Mm-hmm.
and a ball of lightning came down from the heavens, came through the front door of the house, came right in between the area where they were sitting, and zoomed and smashed into the clock, went back out the same way and back up into the sky. And they were all like shook, like, whoa. They said about 5 minutes later, here come Yanni walking through the door. They was like, girl. They was like, girl. They was on because they was all worried about her. You know what I'm saying? But yeah, they just happened to tell me this story one day. I was over the house looking at this clock. But they, that side of my family, they got a billion stories. Man, they got some stories.
Oh, I love it.
Yeah. But so ball lightning is a real thing. So we think about orbs. We should also consider that even though all orbs aren't necessarily ball lightning, they are balls of light, and they resonate, and there's a consciousness to them. And I truly perceive that as the last days and times come, that those of us who are dealing with the truth and the connection to the Most High, Supreme and Exalted, that we will have relationships with these balls of light, these orbs, these metaphysical and supernatural forces, to make sure that when the Bible says, I will make your enemy your footstool,
just talking about that,
it ain't playing. And so, people have plenty of time to just go ahead and leave you alone. But, if people want to go ahead and trespass in sacred ways any more than they already have, there's definitely a universal response. So yeah, that's what I think about orbs. Great question.
Okay. Yeah. definitely have a relationship with the orbs. And I've had people tell me, oh, you're not seeing orbs, that's just dust, and it's dust. So even when you take pictures and you can see certain shadows in certain pictures, and even when you look back on pictures from when you were a child, now that I'm more conscious, I can look back on pictures and I see so much in a picture besides just myself and my grandfather standing there. I don't really talk about it as much as I used to people, because I noticed that if they're not there, they're not gonna get it. They don't really, a lot of people just don't want to know. They're afraid of it. They're spooked by it. And so
they'll grow up. You know what I'm saying? A lot of their concerns are social and tethered to the tempo of society. And so deliberately growing toward the universal self. Some people already got so much going on in their life that they can't even be ignorant. If they try, they can't even be ignorant. If they want to be ignorant, they can't be ignorant. But there are a lot of people who are running away. But like Robert Nesta Marley told them, you can't run away from yourself.
Hmm.
You know, so but it's a blessing to be a reminder.
Yeah,
Good thing that we have my TV. You know what I'm saying? To be able to share these stories with those who are willing to tap in and bear witness and learn and hopefully call in and add on by asking questions and things of that nature.
hmm. So, what information would you need from callers when they do call in?
What's your zodiac sign?
Ah, ah, hmm.
What's your zodiac? No, I'm just playing. Uh, the
The name, is the
I
name
mean,
important?
um, maybe name,
Hmm.
birth date, um, and yeah, I mean, people can bring it how they bring it. Some people are
Right.
gonna ask questions about dreams. Some people are gonna ask questions about relationships or past relationships. Some
Hmm.
people are gonna ask questions about past lives. Some people are gonna just talk about a feeling that they have, or they keep seeing the same person and they don't know if the person is a real person or not. I mean, people ask all types of stuff, uh, because people are experiencing reality in a number of wavelengths. And the beautiful thing is that if it don't fit, I don't never force it. If
Right.
I don't know, I'm gonna be like, sis, hey, you got me on that one. Like,
Hmm.
but the grace is that the experiences that I've had thus far, and the fact that I lean on wisdom that transcends my years.
Hmm.
Um, you know,
So, do
the,
you find that? So, say for instance, if a person tells you that their birthday is in June, because you're on the 13th calendar, do you interpret the June to really not be a true June? Because I've been told that even though I'm a Gemini, that I have more Tarian energy with people who are studying the 13th calendar versus the 12th calendar. So if a person's birthday is, say for instance, is June 12th or something like that, would you interpret that June 12th? I don't know if that's Cancer or Gemini, but would you look at it from a 13th calendar perspective? Or would you
uh,
still be able to just
I'm gonna use the elemental relationships that are found in the zodiac as people know it.
mm-hmm,
However, once again, there are perceptions, there are different angles. So truth can be witnessed a number of ways. Um, just like Angel is a song by Anita Baker.
mm-hmm.
But then Angel is also a song by
Angela
Shaka Khan.
and Angela, what's her name? Angela
And then there's another version of Angel by what is it? Angela, is it Angela Wimbush?
Bush.
Is it the
Angela.
Angel? Ooh.
Yeah,
Yes,
her.
right.
Hmm.
And then Angel is a song remade by Layla Hathaway,
Hmm.
right? So interestingly enough, I chose the song Angel, which is also the same word as angle,
Hmm.
right? You can draw truth from various angles and still provide valuable insight,
Hmm.
you know. Now, some people who get into these things get very deep into telling everybody that they're wrong because they're right and all these type of things like that. And I'd be like, okay, buddy, you know what? You as cool. Like, there are four right angles to a square, and each of them are opposite to one another in a different way, depending on which difference you choose to highlight. So, if people are concerned with highlighting differences, they can
Hmm.
do that all day. My job is to provide a right angle so that people can know their center. You know what I'm saying?
Love it.
Um, so yeah. But I'll get into the 13 moon calendar with folks too. That's why I want to know their birthdays.
Hmm.
Um, I want to know their birthdays so that I can get into that. But I'm gonna go ahead and use all the tools I know how to use to help a person have the clarity.
That's what's up. That's what's up. Thank you, everybody. My ITV DMV. Amun,
Yes.
We
Perfect
love
love to y'all. Temple of Soul on Instagram. That's Temple Temple of SOL. Divine radiant art for the mind, body, and heart. Yeah, making custom made pieces. I will be performing at the Crystal Cookout in Philadelphia
Oh,
this Saturday. And shucks, all said, if you let me know, I might have to jump on a train and come down to DC for a day on Sunday or something. I just gotta, what I mean? Let me know what's going on down your way. You know what I'm saying?
okay.
But
Yeah, I will definitely call you. So Saturday in Philly?
Saturday in Philly, yes, at the Crystal Cookout.
Crystal
Um,
Cookout.
yes. I'm the original. I'm the original first Crystal King. Of the
Okay.
Crystal Cookout, but every year they crown a new Crystal King or Crystal Queen for the best wire wrapped jewelry. I
Oh,
am not. I mean, they're gonna. Everybody who has a booth will get judged per se,
ooh.
but I am not concerned with that. I am totally in this life and have not had time to go ahead and craft some type of mind-blowing masterpiece to compete with other people. My masterpiece is my ability to masterpiece for the people.
Okay.
You know what I mean? And great pieces come out along the path. But I ain't got no time to be rushing no creativity between now and Saturday morning. I got pieces to make, and I got pieces that I would like to make. Yeah, I can't be just so I'll be there with good vibes, and I'm performing. So what I want to leave y'all with is a piece, and this piece goes, soldier on the run, but I don't need a gun. I need to praise in the sun just to see where I'm from and feed the melanin till the rainbows come. 99 plus 1 is as zikr I hum. Write blessings on the bottles of the water I drink. Inflection to the liquid inflow as I think. Resurrection through projection of a spiritual link. Pen, sword, drip, bleeding metaphysical ink. Free at last, Ujat, seeing the math, initiate upon my path like Musa with a staff. Heteru, a holy calf born inside of my soul. Woman inside of man, but it's not out of control. Because I live for the holy mothers, give for the holy sisters, work for my holy daughters, and serve my lovely wife. But I mean, if you had a choice to make dry lands moist with sprinklings and tinklings of amphibians' voice, would you plant all your tadpoles in one place? Or would you celebrate the chance with various mates? What a thunderstorm do? I am him, supplying yin, breaking down Leviathan with that new yang who rang the mental ala Wu Tang, the breath of life. Nice to touch lightning upon the Putang, Amun bang, that new tang, the Hete Puhayu tang, that Neteru Hadusa Shug Anaya Asaru tang, that Nuapu slang, man. The flow don't stop. That's like the winter in Siberia and snow don't drop nowhere. Who saw the bull lock with no hair? Who saw the boy with tiger's eyes and a cold stare? Who saw Atum rocking turquoise in a gold chair? Throne. Please forgive me because I'm all in my zone. What you know about gods and ohms, rods and cones, Horus rising beyond Verizon phones, Yamasi Firehawk soaring the sky alone. All one in the all, I am never alone. Allahum speaking tones, leak the cleverest poems, just trying to put y'all up on something. Gotta let it be known. Life is life force energy we call etheric. The soul is the center and its servant is the spirit. The spirit is the being living conscious in the mental. The mental is expanded soul spiritual potential. The mind is like a lake, but the mental like an ocean. The living soul is water. We are spiritual emotion, but sometimes things get so mental, it's kind of hard to deal with. So we grow to overstand in the form that we can feel with. The body is a temple where the spiritual senses. Some spirits see their body as 100-year sentence. But since everything is mental, that what you should do is overstand that the physical is spiritual too. See, mental is the soul, alive with opposite poles. So a human being's goal was to balance, control, and create a higher being heavenly state on earth. So concentrate and master plan for your fate. Fate. So yeah.
Hey, hey,
So yeah.
hey. That was beautiful. Thank
Yes.
you
Thank
for
you.
sharing.
Yes.
Until next week, peace.
Until
Give
next
me
strong.
information
Yabo.
for the cookout so that I can share it with
Sure I will. I sure
everyone.
will.
Thank you, Amun. I love you so
Yes,
much.
love you too. Y'all all be blessed. Let's see y'all in
Absolutely.
a week. Peace and love.
Peace and love.